Yeah, so we'd be going to my number three,
Hmm.
which anybody who's been following me on Instagram can already guess what this is probably going to be.
I,
Um, um, I lost a horse a little while ago.
Oh no.
She was a good horse. She
okay,
burned to death.
okay, I will say it took everything in my power not to put this game in this list because I'm not done with it, and that is the only thing.
Yeah,
Not either. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
I'm not done with it either. But like, I don't care. Like, I've played
Oh,
so
no,
much of
I
it.
agree with it.
Yeah,
It was a coin flip decision at some point. But like, okay,
yeah,
you're Red Dead Redemption 2, and like since we're not really gonna have a chance to really gush about this as a group for a while, like,
yeah,
holy fucking shit.
yeah.
Uh,
Also, this one's pulling double duty for me. That's the thing. This is also representing Red Dead One a little bit
no,
as well.
I agree because I wasn't expecting these two games to be intertwined as hard as they are.
Hmm.
And at this point, like everything I've seen in Red Dead 2 is serving to not just it's not only serving to, but it's certainly helping. It is elevating everything I saw in Red Dead 1 to levels I didn't imagine. And
Hmm.
it's really
Yeah,
framing some context around some people I met in that game who I thought were fantastic then, who are now like these really, really, really deep, complex, interesting characters, even if they are fucking disgusting people.
yep,
Yep.
Like Dutch Vanderlinde is one of the most like fascinating antagonists I've ever seen,
yeah,
solely because of how much of a pal he is in Red Dead 2.
yeah,
And I won't specifically spoil how this game turns out. But like we all know Dutch becomes a bad guy, but it's how he becomes a bad guy is just gross.
It's like
yeah,
it's
He
like
is a
slow.
profoundly selfish person and doesn't let it all out until the like a crucial moment.
yeah.
Hmm.
His arc, and I didn't realize this till I was partway through it. Is he is every cult leader that
Yes. Yes.
anybody's ever
The
documented.
problem is like
He's
cult leaders you kind of start to see they don't care. The problem with Dutch is that he's sitting there going like, do I care about money or do I care
hmm
about these people who I tell consistently are my kids? These kids, that I have
yeah,
along with me on this ride so many times, and then suddenly, oh, like he decides like fucking material goods are worth more.
yeah. He becomes Jim Jones towards the end of his days, and
Yeah, and
yeah,
his
it just
and
hits.
the thing about him is that like he is, and Arthur says this so many times in two that I've seen so far. He's just like we are essentially ghosts. He's one of the closest thing to ghosts. He's like we are people who should. The world is changing, and we are refusing to change with it. And our
Yeah,
way of life will soon be gone, and it's going to be gone in our lifetime. So we should make changes now. And Dutch is like, no, I got a plan. I've always got a plan. You gotta have
hmm
a plan. I got a plan. We'll move. We'll move. We'll move. We'll move. We'll do
Just
this. We'll
more money.
just put
yeah,
more distance between us and the fucking problems that we keep having that keep repeating themselves that keep getting worse. No, distance and money, that'll solve it.
yeah. And not even him; it's the side characters as well. Like they all have these arcs. Hosea is
Oh my
yeah,
god, I
who's
love Hosea.
Hosea.
He's
Yeah,
like probably the smartest and most seasoned person in that group of people. John, holy shit, John.
yeah.
You get way more of a window into John's life than I ever anticipated.
Yep.
hmm
Um, you
Like I have a different context on him looking back, and like knowing how conflicted that character must be during the first game.
yeah,
And it's
especially because
just
he left, knowing that he left before. And
yeah,
he decided, like, I don't want this anymore, and left multiple times, and still came back because he's like, I love those people.
hmm
He loved those people so much, he went back and married one of them.
yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah,
Part of my problem, like, because I'm not going to say I've cooled on the game, but I haven't been playing it as much because part of me knows I'm going to have to go back and play Red Dead Redemption as soon as I finish the second one,
Yep.
just so I can be like, all right, now I need to reevaluate this first game through new eyes.
hmm
I mean, I haven't finished it either. That's mostly because due to time and like
That too.
more interesting, like not knocking the game, but like more attention grabbing things have happened in my life.
fair.
Hmm.
I haven't finished it because, and I still haven't technically finished the first one, is because I can't do it. I can't. I know what's happening. I know it's gonna come. I got some stuff spoiled for me very early on.
Yeah.
So I can't do it. I can't. I can't see what happens to some of these characters and how they end. And I just can't. I can't be there when it happens.
And
I know,
here's the thing,
knowing
like,
that it's happening.
Yeah, I didn't know I would love John Marston so much, and then
Yep.
Red Dead 1 happens the way it does, and I was just gutted.
Mhm.
But now to see like more of him and Jack and Abigail and his relationship to Arthur and
Yeah.
how Arthur ends up in relation to John, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, this is a fucking cycle that never ends.
Yeah.
Like these fucking
Yeah.
and especially those two, because they're even as crappy as you can make Arthur, like through your own actions, like he still does objectively selfless things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And is like a saint with blood in his hands. And John is someone who's like, I don't want to do this, but I'm kind of being forced to, and like at some points, like my life is on the line, so I kind of have to, I suppose. And then like ultimately just wants to go live in a big fucking piece of property with his sort of pseudo wife and his son that may or may not be his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I saw an art write about this. It says like Jack is irrefutably John's son, but the idea was to plant a seed of doubt that makes you go, like, what the fuck if he isn't? Like, what if he's Arthur's? Like, what does that mean? Like, how does that change things? And
What if he's Javier's?
Yeah. I mean, if he's Arthur's, that adds this other level of like how Arthur was such an important character to John, and for John, raising Arthur's son is probably like it would almost be like a challenge. Like, can I do this? Can I be a
man half as good as that guy to turn this kid to a man who is half as good as him or as good as him? But then like to know that like Jack eventually grows up and still has to shed some blood because of what happens to his family is fucking gut wrenching and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because Jack has to go kill that piece of shit Elliot Ross who murders John in his own fucking property after telling him like, nah, do this one thing for me and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Elliot Ross, just even through his small screen time in both those games, is like one of my most despised video game protagonists because he's just gross to me.
He's a slimy, like fucking subhuman piece of shit. Like he's
Well, he's a representation of the government. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah.
And it reshapes Uncle's position in Red Dead 1 because like Uncle is a fucking useless piece of shit in Red Dead 2. I mean, he's like semi-competent, but like there's lots of comments from people saying like you just lay around and then you like take partial credit for stuff that's not yours. But like I think the fact that everyone knows like you don't have anybody else except us, so yes, you can stay. And I think the fact that like once this all falls apart and Uncle goes to live with John and Abigail says a lot about the bunch of them. It's like Uncle is the closest thing left to like that family, and it's the same way from Uncle to John. Like the only people that Uncle has is fucking John, Abigail, and Jack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if like sitting on their ranch and drinking himself to death with them is what he wants to do, that's what he can do. And I know at some point in the epilogue of Red Dead 2, you do hear Uncle talk about people in Red Dead 2 in a very sad way to Abigail, and Abigail breaks down and fucking cries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then John gets mad at him. He's like, "You made my wife cry. Am I gonna have to punch you today?" Holy shit, Red Dead 2 is such a good fucking video game. And like, there's a few things about it that are just part of Rockstar's like dated game design that I have a problem with. But like, outside of that, it's a fucking masterwork. And I don't use that term loosely as far as video games concerned. And honestly, there's only a few games in the past decade that I would consider to be a masterwork. And like the other one is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Which I've just started a new game in that game, and I'm intent on finishing it. I know how it ends, but the journey there is probably going to be fucking rough.
Yeah, that's because that's a rough game.
Game, I don't want to like it. I'll if we get to our favorite thing from last year, I'll talk more about it. But we should probably move on to someone else.
Well, Arlen, is there anything else you wanted to add about Red Dead before we move on?
I just want to say like the story is just fantastic. Like that's like I think it's one of the best Western stories of the modern era. Like very because westerns aren't getting made very much. So that's very
No.
easy to say.
Yeah.
I want to remind people that this is coming from the same Arlen who said 2 years ago he doesn't play video games. Like,
Yes,
it's,
but
it's a big
there's,
Down.
yeah, there's things that had to do with that.
Look, it's
So yeah, like yeah, and if they were to make a film of this, which they don't need to, just play the game.
Yeah.
But if they were, I would want them to combine elements of both games because it's that's the only way to tell the story completely would be to combine elements.
you'd have to tell them chronologically, honestly, I think.
Yeah.
it's so solemn, like solemn and kind of like heart wrenching that.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
they
And
kinda-
honestly, I think John's death in Red Dead 1 would play out on screen beautifully, given the right pair of hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I envision this in my head by stealing a line from Max Payne 3 because I do think John deserves to get at least a shot on Ross before the whole thing ends.
Yeah.
I think he should have kneecapped him and said, like, yeah, of course you'll walk away with this, but you'll walk away with a limp, and then shoots him with a fucking kneecap. Which is what Max does to a fucking gross, corrupt Spanish politician at the end of Max Payne 3. He blows up his plane, the guy's sitting there laying down, and he's like, I'll walk away from this. And Max says, oh yeah, you will. And then steps on his leg, breaking it in half, and goes, with a limp.
Jesus Christ.
Max Payne 3 is also something else we turned into a movie, but that's a different conversation for a different day. That's a game you also need to play, Arlen. If you like Red Dead so much, you love
Unfortunately, Max Payne 3 is not backwards compatible at this point.
I know at this point it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's Connor's final.
So I am on my number one, and it's fucking easy. It's fucking Infinity War.
That's my number one as well.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I thought I was ready for Infinity War, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I had inklings of doubt before Infinity War came out. I'm like, can anyone actually do this? Can you take all this stuff that you've been building towards for almost 20 fucking films and successfully cram it? Not cram it, I would say. Successfully fit it into a 2.5 hour experience. And not only do it, they did it in a way I wasn't ready for. I wasn't anticipating. In a way they told me they were going to do, and I didn't believe them actually at first because, like, I was like, you can't. I don't think you can do a modern day Darth Vader, and then they managed to do a modern day Darth Vader. They put Darth Vader as the sole protagonist of the film.
Okay. I think of the Russos now as like movies Ed Boon, in that they constantly lie to us. Like,
Yeah.
They do.
and then we're okay with them lying to us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because even when they lie to us, it's still showing that they actually know what they're talking about.
When they're lying to us, they're saying shit we want to hear, but at the same time, it's like it's not exactly what we want.
Yeah. And
They're placating us to the point where when we get something that's not what they tell us, we're like, oh shit, this is actually better.
Yeah.
I would love if it somehow came out years from now that they were the ones on Reddit putting out the descriptions of the fake Avengers Endgame trailer.
Wouldn't surprise me because, like, here's the thing. I know that one dude was taking credit for the Civil War reveal trailer, and he was like, that was me. I called that. But, like, every single Infinity War leak, for the most part, was wrong.
I mean, there was a concept art leak, but like that was
Yeah. I think Gamora's death was leaked, but like I didn't see anything else.
I didn't know anything about that.
I didn't see, but no, I didn't know about it until I saw the movie. I heard afterwards that was apparently leaked before it came out.
I
And
didn't hear about that afterwards.
In comparison, to The Force Awakens, I was aware of Han Solo dying on a bridge-like structure at the hands of a lightsaber by Kylo Ren 2 years before the movie came out.
Wait, what?
Yes. There was some kind of weird leak about exactly what was going to happen to Han Solo. And I remember the phrasing. It said, like, and it's just, I think his name was different at then, but it was like, so-and-so, ignites his lightsaber and silences the conversation forever, is exactly what was written. Yeah, but it detailed Han Solo's death. And it's actually to the point where when Han Solo stepped out on that bridge and said, Ben, I was like, oh my God, it's going to fucking happen. And actually, it didn't ruin the moment for me. It filled me with fucking dread. I was like, no.
I mean, I had an inkling of what was going to happen, but not the way it went down, specifically between those two characters either. I was just like, I knew Harrison Ford wasn't going to be back just because he was so happy when he was doing interviews about the movie. Like, I knew his character was dead.
He was like, I think he did give his all in that movie because he knew this is it. Like, I don't have to do this ever again. And I think that's why he was sincerely into it and sincerely happy, because he's like, I don't have to do this again, so enjoy it while it lasts.
I think on some level he probably really enjoyed that. Like, that's the way Han Solo went out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I know he did, because that bit where he grabs Kylo's face was improv.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was all Harrison Ford. But Infinity War.
Yes,
my friend George, who I've talked about in the show a lot, I don't think he's in Infinity War yet, but I haven't touched base with him yet. Said with his mom, because he moved his mother in, was working his way through the MCU from start to finish.
wow.
Okay.
And he even said, he's like, this is the most ambitious storytelling in film I've ever seen. He's like, they're trying to make one giant cohesive functioning world. And he's like, and to me, he's like, and even to my mother who doesn't know these characters, it's working on every level. And he said, and I can't wait to see how Infinity War pans out, because they built this up to a pressure point where I didn't anticipate. And like, I think everyone knew going into Infinity War, like, something was going to happen, because you can't do this story without Thanos walking away with some sort of victory. I didn't know they were going to do it on that level.
The stakes were far too high, because even people who aren't in the know of all the minuscule details like we tend to be, still had an idea that, like, this is a big moment and kind of the end of a lot of things within these Marvel movies. So something is going to happen.
Thanos. I mean, like, think about it as an adversary. Like, you look at Thanos and you see this huge purple, like, muscle man who has, like, reality altering powers now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the end all be all. Like, you can't get, at this point in the MCU, you cannot get bigger than Thanos.
Yeah, he's God with a capital G.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Especially
like,
the one who was just as scary as Thanos was Ultron, and Ultron was solved in one movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they masterfully, like, raise the stakes in a way that's believable, but also kind of, like, horrifying. Like, the implications of that universe are things from here are going to just get worse.
Yeah, and the thing with Thanos is, like, everyone says, like, oh, his plan is stupid because there's lots of like holes in it. It's like, yes, there are, but you can't tell him that, because he'd find a way to disagree with you.
Yep.
He's someone who is so fanatically convinced himself of this plan that nothing else will satisfy him except doing it. And even if afterwards something showed him to his face, like, this plan didn't work, he would probably ignore it.
Yeah.
This is a pilgrimage for him. This is not a task. This was a holy journey.
It sounds almost familiar in a way. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's real world implications here. I don't know.
But yeah, it's a lot of similar things that Arlen Connor had said about the movie initially, is that by no right did this movie have the ability to work as well as it did. Like, we have never seen filmmaking on a scale, time-wise, like this actually pan out. Because you can't even say Star Wars, because that was still so up in the air when George Lucas was involved, that it's unfair to try and compare it to that. Like,
even the prequels were like, you're gonna do those, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even Godzilla isn't the same thing, because they didn't build an arc over 20 movies.
No,
it'd be fucking great if they had.
That would,
they didn't.
Yeah, that would be.
No,
but
and say as much as you want. I don't believe George Lucas when he said he had a concrete plan for these movies, because if you had a concrete plan, then the prequels wouldn't be full of such contradiction and holes as they would, because you didn't think about this too long.
Also, if you had a concrete plan, they probably would have made, because Star Wars is a license print money.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. Like, you didn't have a plan, and you can't, like, whatever plan you had was changed an incredibly large amount by the time you got to the prequel.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are stupid things in those movies that shouldn't, like, I know it's a big question, it's been answered all the time, but, like, how the fuck does C-3PO and R2-D2 not recognize Obi-Wan Kenobi? How the fuck do they not recognize other characters in those movies that they appeared with in later films? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, follows through on shit that was said 5 fucking movies ago, 10 movies ago.
The fourth Avengers film is a title has a title that was set in fucking Age of Ultron.
As a means of saying like, yeah, that up there, that's what we got to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A throwaway character is the main villain from First Avenger. Yeah, it's an insane movie.
And then actually, Infinity War ends in a visually symbolic way, similar to Avengers 1, because you have Vision in the same position Tony was, and he wakes up and says, "Did we win?" And in Infinity War, someone says, "Did we just lose?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
They pay so much attention to everything that it's kind of insane.
Yeah, in the background of, like, in Civil War, if you look in Steve's office at the Avengers headquarters, he's got the drawing he was doing in Captain America 1, that fucking monkey.
Oh yeah, he does.
That's sitting on his desk framed.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like in Homecoming, there's references to the fucking the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
Wait, one of the principal is like a descendant of like one of the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
Huh.
Infinity and like the theatrical experience was something to behold, because as soon as that snap happened and people started turning to dust, like you could hear a fucking mouse fart in my movie theater.
Same.
It was gravely quiet. And then like when the Peter Parker stuff actually Black Panther was first. That's when I heard. God. That's when I heard sobbing, and then Peter Parker happened, and then I heard actual bawling from people, and I was like, "Are people fucking crying during a superhero film?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "It's not me. It's not the nerds. It's the casuals."
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing that what can happen when you have a studio and execs behind the movies themselves and the creators actually all working together on the same page.
And not to get back on this, but like that is why I fucking vehemently despise Justice League now, because of how much of a fucking failure it looks like comparison to this. Because like you have characters that are arguably 10 times more popular than Iron Man is.
You
couldn't even Aquaman, get that fucking done.
Aquaman has like 40 years on Captain America. Like he was made in the 1930s, right?
And Aquaman is the most like openly mocked DC character, probably one of the most openly mocked comic book characters of all time.
These characters have been around for so long, and they're almost bigger.
Like you fucked up Batman and Superman in one fucking movie.
Yep.
How in?
I'm not a huge fan. I'm not like he's not a saint or like a person I look up to.
That and like there's that and like your big screen debuts of like a character like the Flash you goofed on too. Like he is as important as I would say Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and you fucked him up too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like he's talking about, like I was saying, like I'm no like Bob Barker fan, but like at least he stays in his office. You know?
Yeah. And he lets people do what they're supposed to do. And like all these executives at DC sound like, or not DC, like Warner Brothers sound like a bunch of fucking idiots who are only in it for themselves. Yep. And apparently I just heard they fired Joss Whedon too, which means that nobody in that building knows what the fuck they're doing.
Well, that was a Patty Jenkins decision.
Yeah.
Which I get that.
I totally get that.
I didn't follow up on that. What exactly does that mean?
So Patty Jenkins didn't like Joss Whedon's handling of Wonder Woman, and she basically said, if this continues, I'm out. Which is the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, fuck Joss Whedon.
Yeah, because you've directed the only DC film that has done really well for us.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and I totally agree with Patty Jenkins, because Whedon turned Wonder Woman into a not so desirable character in that movie.
Yeah.
Just that line about Steve Trevor, like, "Oh, your boyfriend died, so you ignored humanity for 40 years. Good on you."
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if Whedon was the one behind the redesign of the Amazon's outfits.
No, I feel like that was a
Snyder
thing, because I can kind of tell when I'm watching that movie what was Snyder and what was Whedon, and that felt like it was Snyder's initially, at least the early parts, but there was probably reshoots. So I mean, it could have been Whedon could have changed the designs, obviously, very easily, but Yeah.
It was just that was something that always bothered me when I first watched Justice League. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, all the Amazons were in like appropriate armor in the Wonder Woman film, and then
now they're in
all
booty
this,
shirts.
yeah,
Mhm.
and bikinis, and like what do you?
Michael Bay.
But anyway, yeah, like there's only so much I can say about Infinity War that I haven't already said. Like that was from a theatrical experience and from just like from following these movies from where they were to where they are now. It was so fucking worth it, and that and memes. My God, the memes. All of them are so good. I am so glad that I dreamt up Farmer Thanos, only discovered that's kind of a real thing, and then I expanded on that joke. That and seeing that tweet where it was some theater where the text popped up that said it was all quiet and text popped says Thanos will return, and there was a long pause and someone said, "Well, maybe he shouldn't."
Before we get go on, there's one thing I want to say about Infinity War that kind of just sums up the whole thing. Before Infinity War, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a movie, like this is gonna be a thing, like it's gonna be a thing. And then I saw Infinity War, and then I felt like something had changed. You know what I mean? Like you walk out and you feel like life is different.
It felt like a before and after type thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like
we are in post Infinity War.
Definitely.
Yes, it definitely did. And I will say this as like, and this is sort of me preempting things that are going to be said by me later on. It's a movie where it's the culmination of a lot of things, and on that level, there's a lot of weight behind that movie that I think is adds extra importance and makes it such an impactful film. And yeah, I just think it does that well. It creates a good capper. If I have any problem with it months later, it's not really a full film. Like that's a problem that I still have with it. Is it feels like a half of a movie, and that we really haven't gotten the second half yet. And I don't really feel comfortable having a definitive opinion about it still, as one film.
I will. So, my one minor complaint about the movie is a little bit long in the tooth. There are definitely a few things that could be trimmed up a little bit, but I understand they wanted to go for spectacle, and that's really my biggest complaint. And I totally understand I totally understand where you're coming from, Arlen. Like it is kind of unfair to completely judge it because there are aspects of it that feel like it's all right. You're only seeing half of this movie at this point, but what they did was great.
My only real complaint is I didn't get enough Bucky. All right, I'm mad. And then you took him from me again.
Yeah, there's not enough Bucky, not enough Cap. But again, like I feel like part 2 is gonna answer a lot of that. It's gonna feel like it's gonna be very Cap heavy this next.
I know, but I wanted bearded Cap. I don't want this fresh, clean shaven gentleman.
This pop star, this boy band Cap that we're getting.
Kind of my problem with Man of Wasp is like they brought back Janet Van Dyne, and spoiler alert, she gets Thanos.
And then they kill her right away.
They take her away. I'm like, damn it, Feige, you did it again.
You know what's funny? While we're talking about this, Robert Downey Jr.'s Facebook page popped up, and it's that video they've used to promote Civil War where Tony steals the last donut. What did I tell you about eating the red, white, and blue stars and stripes donut? You said something about, I don't know, raining hellfire.
Rain down.
And then in the background, Elizabeth Olsen is like, reacting. Before I move on from Infinity War, that's also a reason why I love these movies so much, because like these actors have just sunk their teeth into these roles in this family, and they have run the hills for it, and I love it so much because especially Downey Jr., he has like unashamedly loves doing these movies, not just for the money, but it looks like he has like a really good time. All these like friends he's made, and like the amount of careers he's essentially helped launch because of his association with these movies is astounding. And like he essentially godfathered the careers of like Evans, Olsen, Holland, all these people he's basically had the golden touch with, like because he's daddy MCU, like he's the fucking first one, so
he's the guy.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we can move on from Infinity War, and my list is basically done.
Yeah. I think it would just be back to Erik.
Right? Did we cover Hunter's number 2?
Well,
we covered Hunter's whole list.
Yeah.
Oh, we did? Oh, I didn't realize.
And then number 1 Spider-Verse. So
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
My number 2 was Legion. Legion season 2.
See, I almost
Like,
picked that, but I thought Legion started in last year.
No. Well,
No.
no, 2018. Like
Yeah.
the final episode was in June.
Fuck.
Like
Yeah.
that show was such a revelation. Like for as much as we're talking about how well the Marvel universe does stuff, like this show shows that Fox kind of had a great thing going when they would let people just run free with the properties they had access to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it did things I've never seen a TV show do before and still stay within a quote unquote superhero genre, but do it in such a bizarre and interesting way that you were compelled to watch every episode.
I
Yeah.
really, really liked Legion, and then I fell in love with it in the first 2 minutes of the finale for season 2.
I have not.
Because that was something I hadn't expected from this show, was to use music in such a way that was not only like. The more I've gone back and rewatched that, I'm like, this is telling me what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a shameful thing I'd like to admit about Legion Season 2. I keep trying to start it. This time I get distracted, and then like there's a man with a bucket on his head, and I'm like, all right, I gotta restart this. So I'm going.
Have you at least watched the Behind Blue Eyes shit?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I'm gonna finish it. But like, it's just gotta be a thing where like I have to sit myself in a chair and not let myself get distracted. Because
honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a show you should try and binge.
No,
I
no,
really
no,
don't.
no.
And that
You
might
should
be
watch
your
it
mistake.
one episode a night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it
I-
doesn't have to be like a
yeah.
week between each episode,
Because
but yeah,
you
like
know how
Arlen
when
just
we
said.
you know how when we binge like Netflix shows, like some episodes blur together.
yeah,
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
can't afford that with Legion because you have to digest what's going on in Legion.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because like I got to the guy with the bucket on his head, and I was like, all right.
Yeah. Like
Oh well, no, you get to him with no explanation. So don't.
Yeah.
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 I like
But
looked
you
down my
can't-
phone, and there's a man surrounded by what looks like other men. I think.
But with
Yes.
shapely bodies.
Oh god damn it. But no, like you can't watch that multiverse episode right after watching the episode in Sid's head.
I'm starting to see why I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
I would say
It's a
that
lot.
if you wanted to have someone like test the waters for Legion, you show them the multiverse episode.
that's the best. I think it's a great starting episode because it doesn't tie directly into anything, and you set up a lot of things.
Into any continuity, you just have to tell them like this is a show about a mutant who's so grossly powerful as a psychic that
Mhm.
if in the right road he could control the world, or he could be a weapon of mass destruction so powerful that we have to murder him in the street.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And anywhere in between is what this episode is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. Noah Hawley continues to impress. Like
Yeah.
And
I
there
don't-
are people on the there are people I think on the Fox side or on the MCU side who keep saying I want to see Noah Hawley's Doomsday or Doctor Doom.
I do. I keep
Mhm.
I do too. Yeah.
Throwing
It's something I'm
bash
very
on the television
interested in.
screen and nothing's happening.
I feel like he's somebody that can be given anything and he'll figure out a way to do it. It doesn't matter what it is. Because I mean, ostensibly Legion, the character from the comics, he's not as interesting as he
You
was
imagine a
presented in the
world
show.
Where they
Yeah.
named Doctor Strange.
Oh.
Can you imagine
Oh.
that? We would all be like Doctor Strange fans right now.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I would be a gigantic Doctor Strange fan
Yeah.
if that happened.
I mean, I'm a casual fan of him, but that would
We
put it
would
over the
all-
top.
yeah.
We'd all have matching capes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and yeah, the only reason the Legion isn't on my list is because we've talked about Legion before.
We
Like,
have.
Yeah. Yeah, so like people know how we feel about it. But yeah, like Noah Hawley, he's someone where like I don't care what he does next. Like I'm there. Like
Mhm.
I never. If you had told me 8 years ago that somebody was gonna make the man was gonna make a Fargo show,
Yeah.
and that show would be one of my favorite shows on television, and that the same man would then do an X-Men show.
Yeah, based
And
on
that would
no
become
one
one
ever
of my
knows,
favorite
like,
shows.
has ever heard.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was the thing. Like when I first heard about the Fargo show, I was like, that sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking dumb idea. What are they doing?
Yeah.
But no, they
No.
they like, yeah. They're so
it's-
respectful to like the original movie, and it's kind of part of the same universe.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, if you watch it and you know that movie even a little bit, you see like all these little references and things like, oh, that's kind of like the movie, but then this is going completely in this other direction, but it's a great other direction.
Yeah.
And there's just such a respect for the source material, which is a 2-hour film.
I'm very similar to another movie on my list.
I would also say that, like, Legion is also very respectful of like X-Men lore without having to go the heck with it, because they do.
Yeah.
He's grabbing, like, he doesn't want. I've pitched the show as like, imagine an X-Men universe where there's no fucking X-Men, but there are.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what Legion is, because there's no mention of the X-Men, probably because Xavier was like, I'm not gonna make a school, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that. So there are mutants, but you don't have to worry about the burden of the X-Men. Like, sure, Wolverine may be out there, but he's not important to this fucking story.
Yeah.
But other things might be, and like the fact that they introduce without having to come out and say it, like, yeah, Professor X is very present in this story, but you don't need to hear his name every 5 seconds
Because you know. Because
because
Yeah.
we're treating you as smarter than we're actually giving you credit for being a smart viewer.
Yeah.
Well, that, and I mean, another way to look at it too is any of the other mutants that are in the show probably would have been killed by humans very quickly if the X-Men had come into power.
If there was no group or affiliation with the status and power the X-Men had, then mutants would be at the whimsy of human aggression for years.
Well, like, back to the Professor X thing, though, like, it feels like the fact that he's the most powerful telepath on the planet is more important than what his name is.
Yep.
Yeah. You need to know that that David comes from genes that are so goddamn ridiculously overpowered that it only serves to enhance how destructive David can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't watched the first 2 seasons of Legion, please go do it. But watch an episode a night. It'll be more rewarding that way, and maybe by the time you get around to finishing it, they'll have more solid info on when season 3 is coming out.
I want it now.
I know.
I want it right now. I want Fargo every year. So.
I need to see the new season of Fargo with Chris Rock in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I need that. I need it now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll go to. I have 2 picks in a row now because of how everybody else is stacked up. So I'm gonna try to go through this next one quickly because I think I'm the only one who's seen it of all of us. Again, because I'm not trying not to pick Legion, I picked Sabrina.
Sabrina was phenomenal.
I haven't watched it yet, but people I work with have been talking about it nonstop.
It's so good.
My favorite thing on Facebook is watching people who only know, like, the old, like, Disney Channel show or whatever it was on. Like, come to the realization, like, why is this so metal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is
best.
this so accurate to Satanism in some parts?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show, and like it's the right balance of soapy and weird and creepy and just like a very aesthetically pleasing for the most part. And just like it's a really fun show. Like everybody in the show seems like they're having fun, so it adds to the sense that you are having fun while you're watching it. And everybody's just perfectly cast. Like even if these aren't the versions of these characters that everybody knows or that most people know, they still feel like they are related to those previous versions, while at the same time being these very unique characters. Yeah, and it's a really interesting experience.
The best description I can give it is it's take all of the sensibilities of a CW show, but do them with some real talent behind it instead of it just being adequate enough.
Yep. It's CW with like a budget behind it.
Yeah, and just actual genuine like talent for writing that consistently pays off. It's not just 1 or 2 episodes out of a season are phenomenal. I don't think there was a bad episode of Sabrina that I saw.
Yeah, I can't think of one. And some of the performances.
I didn't watch a whole lot of Mad Men, but I cannot believe that is the daughter from Mad Men playing Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's so good.
It to me sounds like the CW stuff with budget and the ability to take risks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And like Michelle Gomez and Connor, I think you're the only one here who actually knows Michelle Gomez as Missy from Doctor Who.
Shit! I didn't know she was in it.
She's in it, and she is so good in the same way that she was good as Missy. But it's such a obviously different character.
She instills very, very strange emotions in me because I find her oddly attractive for some reason.
Yep.
Which
much older woman, by the way. This is important to state.
Is
much older.
Is she the
She's Madam Satan.
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
But if you see her as Missy in Doctor Who, you're like,
mm-hmm. Again, very different characters for the most part, but both characters are just insanely intimidating and attractive in odd ways. And it's because of Michelle Gomez, and her performance is electric. Every moment she's on screen, it's fantastic. And the last moments of the official season 1, because they just did a Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
The last moments of season 1 are they are so perfect. If you've read the current or the recent comic book of Sabrina, you will smile during those last moments, because it's something that you were probably waiting for, and when they get to it, it's fantastic. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's. Have you read the Sabrina comic? I'm guessing you did, obviously, based on what you said. Like
most of it, yeah. I dropped off when I dropped off of most comics.
Okay, but from what you read of it, like, do they hold pretty true to what they did in the Sabrina comics?
Yes, they do. They stay pretty true to it.
Okay, good.
They change some things. They change little things, like how familiars work.
Okay.
Familiars in the comic are like other witches who have been basically punished by becoming familiars, and they go with a very different explanation for them in the show.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like they were trying to avoid people being like, isn't that just indentured servitude?
Yeah.
Which is a tricky...
extra steps.
Isn't that kind of not good?
Yeah. So they didn't want to deal with people getting angry about that, which I understand completely. So yeah, Sabrina. For anybody who hasn't watched it, go. It's fun.
Do it. It is better than it has any right to be based on what it's based on. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the cast is like fantastic. Like, it's very like there's a cast member for everyone, I guess is the best way to say it. There's a lead character who is non-binary, I believe that's the term. So yeah, like go watch it. It's fun for the whole family and friends and so on and so forth. So yeah.
And Tati Gabrielle is beautiful as Prudence.
I put a picture of Michelle Gomez in the Hangouts chat.
Yeah, I saw that.
She's fantastic. Okay, I forgot for a second that I had another pick. So this is my final pick, and I believe this is my first film. And this might be a shock to some people. I don't know. My pick is Aquaman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because holy fuck, guys, Aquaman's great. I don't care what any critics are saying, what anybody's saying. If anybody's told you bad things about it, go see Aquaman, decide for yourself, because it is so much fun. I don't think I've had that much fun in a movie in a very long time.
Arlen was telling me things earlier about it that makes me think I might have a writing credit that I don't know about in this movie.
You might. You just might. Like, there's a moment in this where I'm like, oh, Hunter wrote this. This is a Hunter jam. This is something that Hunter would put in the end of his Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many moments in this movie where I was like, this is what being a fan of James Wan is. Slowly watching him build his power until he can do whatever he wants and put insane, terrifying imagery on screen, and also have giant action sequences and men entering the frame and being like, this is who I am blah 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 blah. It's a surprise that we haven't met before. Now let's fight.
That sounds so fucking Dragon Ball. It's not even funny.
It is. It's the most anime movie that has
I
ever
am one
been
of the
released.
Ginyu Force. I've never been mentioned before, but our power levels are all extremely high, and we're going to school the main cast right now.
Yes, I am an ocean pirate. You should have met me by now, but I guess it is now you, the Aquaman, have now met me. Wahahaha! Like that sounds like that he's joking. That's pretty close to the actual lines that are said in this film. Like it's just it's great. It's fantastic. There are moments in this that I was like, that is literally like that's framed from a comic book. That feels like something out of a comic book. And yeah, it just works. Like, if you are a fan of James Wan, if you're a fan of DC Comics, if you're a fan of any of the things associated with this movie, if you're a fan of Jason Momoa, just go watch it. And actually, don't like listen to people telling you that it's like too cheesy or too goofy. Decide that for yourself, because your own personal taste should be the deciding factor.
When is that ever a bad thing, though?
I don't know.
I feel like there's an argument to be made that like you can enjoy cheesiness.
Yeah, you can, and you should. You should be able to enjoy cheesiness. That's the thing. This is the problem with people who really like can't stop shitting on Batman and Robin. Is they often make the same 5 points, which is that it's too goofy, that the colors are bad, that Mr. Freeze is badly done, so on and so forth. But when they talk about the cheesiness, they're assuming that cheese is just a bad thing in general. No, cheese in the hands of a good director who knows what he's doing is a good thing. It just depends on the hands directing that ship.
Just generally speaking, have any of you motherfuckers seen Shoot 'Em Up? That movie is 90 minutes of cheese, but it's the most fun you'll ever have in an action movie.
Yes.
It's fantastically done. Yeah.
I unfortunately haven't seen it yet, so I can't I can't react to this properly. But it is really refreshing to hear one of us say like, "Oh yeah, Aquaman is my fucking favorite movie."
Oh yeah. And I'm saying this because I knew Spider-Verse would be on here. It's like I loved Aquaman, and I want Aquaman to get some attention. I want people to see it because
I respect that because
so
that's one of the reasons why I picked Team 4 Stars, because like I want, and V Nation, because I would like anyone who's listening to this to know like, hey, these are two things I think are fucking fantastic that really have earned the attention that you should be giving them.
Yeah, and also this is the more controversial point that I have, and this is something I said last year, and it's maybe a little bit distressing that this is becoming a trend. This is the second year in a row where my two favorite comic book movies weren't MCU movies. That's just the thing. That's just the facts. Like, this Aquaman and Spider-Verse are my two favorite comic book movies of the year. Like, that's just the fact.
Well,
I put Infinity War in 3, but yeah.
The MCU's biggest burden is formula.
Yeah. Yeah,
which they only buck every now and then.
Yeah.
But like it's still working for them, so I can't really call it like a fatal flaw yet. So
yeah, I think it's just interesting that like this is the second time in a row where last year it was Logan, and that beat every MCU movie for me. And there was another film that beat some of them for me. And this year it's two movies. And one of them is a DC movie. So.
It's two movies that take risks.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, who could have been
very
Logan though? Like Logan came out of nowhere and was like this fucking brutal, savage, just depressing, into coming to terms with your own mortality and deciding what kind of person you want to be when that time comes.
Yeah,
and the MCU movies are great, and like they do kind of explore some dark shit, but like they've never gone down that road before.
Nope.
Yeah. No.
Like they really have. I still think Winter Soldier is a great essay on like spooky government surveillance and like what people can do about it, like that, having that kind of fucking oversight over your population is scary, but like I don't know, it's you almost can't fathom it, whereas like with Logan it's like I don't know what I'm gonna do when the day comes where I decide like where like I'm moments from death, or like I know I am dying and I have limited amount of time left. Like I don't know, what kind of person am I gonna be?
Yeah. Like, there's something about that.
Very, very quickly, do we want to go over what we think our worst thing of 2018 was?
Yeah.
Because I've got it right here and right now, and it's very broad, but they fucking deserved it. My worst thing of 2018 is the World Wrestling Entertainment Federation. Vince
Wow,
McMahon.
old school.
Vince McMahon should choke on a fucking hot dog and free himself from this mortal coil so the empire he made can survive without his toxic touch. Die, you old fucking man. Please die so I can go love wrestling again, okay? And yes, I'm gonna be that fucking selfish.
Yeah, but like he can't die, Connor. He's too busy.
Go away.
Die and sell half your company to one child and half to the other child.
Yes, get the fuck away. You single-handedly ruined something I really, really love to the point where I don't even want to watch it, let alone, pay money for it. I won't even watch it if I'm stealing it, okay? I don't want anything to do with it right now. I won't even steal your product. That's how fucking bad it is, okay?
There's something really funny about. I know Connor's really mad about this, but like, there's something really funny about like I won't even steal your product.
Yes.
I don't want your shit. I don't want your pile of shit even for free. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want it. It's garbage. You took some of the most talented people on the planet and you're holding their contracts hostage just so they don't go anywhere else. And then the people you decide to use, you misuse. And then you consistently treat your audience like they're a bunch of fucking thumb-sucking morons. And since you don't go to the movies, you have no idea what's relevant or culturally popular at all or resonant. Fuck off and drop dead.
All right.
That's my word for 2018, everybody. How you doing?
Passion behind hate filled tirade against this man.
Hunter, did you have a worst of 2018?
Yeah, it's Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Hey, that movie, I watched it. I've seen it like 4 times because every time, like, I'm just like, I have to see it again because like it's so bafflingly bad.
I know we have talked about the Thawne thing over and over again, but that is a very like large example of how fucking dumb that movie is.
Like he has like a cannonball-sized hole in his head.
Yeah, we've beaten that thing to death, but like it serves as a pseudo sequel to like the last Suicide Squad movie, Assault on Arkham, and Flashpoint, and that doesn't fucking work.
No, because like, okay, DC animated movies suck now. Like that's just
and then you made a speedless Thawne, basically the villain of the film. Ooh, he used a van. How fucking scary!
It was funny when he pulled up in the van.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to talk about like this, where it's like how this movie's really stupid, but like it's also it's animated like shit.
Yeah,
it's really lame and like DC. I don't know what it is about. Like, what the fuck happens to their animated division?
It's got this weird like anime shit that like doesn't work. Like it just looks dumb.
Yeah. Did we already talk about the cannonball and reverse?
I mean, like we have talked about that in depth, but like I guess we might as well go over it again. Like it is the same Leopard Thawne from Flashpoint that Thomas Wayne shoots in the back of the head, and in that film we watch his brains fly out this fucking forehead, and in this movie he's like, "Oh no, I use the Speed Force to slow down my moment of death." It's like that would be great if you got shot in the chest and you're bleeding out or something like that,
right?
But your ability to speak, think, and have any sort of mechanical skills would be severely inhibited right now because the brains you need to do that are on the floor in a timeline that doesn't exist anymore.
You could see through his fucking head.
Which is a great visual, but it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Like, it's hard to tell someone that, like, oh yeah, comics make sense if as long as there's solid logic behind whatever kooky, cocky, like, fucking rules they come up with. But, like, this is a glaring fucking
it's so
Grand Canyon-sized plot hole that doesn't make any fucking sense.
They could have just made it so you can't see out the other side, but they were like, "No, looks."
Or you could have just left with the idea that Thomas Wayne, like, granted, you have to change Flashpoint, but like, just go with the Flashpoint lore and say like, "Oh, Thomas Wayne stabbed me."
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened.
Or this is something that happens in Doctor Who, in one specific season of Doctor Who. There's a character who's pulled out at the moment of their death, and they're just like paused, like they're put into stop mode. So they're not breathing and they're cold and all this stuff.
Isn't that Clara?
You could have done that. Yeah, I was trying to not give it away, but yes,
a few seasons past at this point.
Yes. Some people just don't watch it though, like Hunter, and they should. They should give it another chance.
Maybe. We'll talk about
But
that
yeah,
later.
like there's so many other explanations that have been done before that you could have used, but no, they wanted him to have the bullet through the head, and yeah,
So
it's just
fucking
dumb.
They want to have
aggressively
it so that Deadshot could go, nice shot.
Yeah.
so aggressively stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I haven't watched it.
Yep. Do we want to do Eric's?
I've seen it
Eric's
4 times.
bad thing?
Yeah, I was my worst thing of 2018. Let me see how I phrased this exactly, because it wasn't a particular like film or anything like that. It actually kind of ties back into what I said about last year. Oh yeah, it was internet pressure dictating events.
Yep.
We have had far too much of that happening with every form of media. And I mean, I'm specifically referencing what happened with James Gunn. Like it, but
yeah.
but that's a microcosm of everything, that all of the studios are terrified of
Twitter.
offending somebody, of
Yeah.
Twitter, and of
And you know what's funny is it boils down to like even small shit like people getting angry over the Raimi suit not being in the Spider-Man game, and then having Insomniac have to go like, okay, well here it is. Like, yeah, we were fucking working on it, but here the fuck it is for free, you crybabies. Like,
yeah.
And then even then, people bitched because one minute detail wasn't exact.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
I mean, I'm worried about this, like maybe ruining Star Wars a little bit because.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, you whiny babies who thought that Last Jedi wasn't good. Yeah, you're whiny babies.
Yep.
Here's the thing with that, real quick. Like, I get Last Jedi has flaws,
Yeah.
but to sit there and say that The Last Jedi ruined Star Wars and The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars film of all time, you're fooling yourself, okay? That's not true. It's not even that bad of a film. Like, you're mad about different shit.
Okay, so this connects to Star Wars, but there was a rumor that I saw floating around that people have seen Kylo Ren in his old mask.
Yeah, because they might be undoing
a lot of
everything
Last
that
Jedi.
they did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I mean,
they might just be undoing it all, just completely retconning it.
Apparently, the mask was like glued back together or whatever. But yeah, that's
which is so dumb.
That's so disappointing because Last Jedi was such a step in the right direction.
Last Jedi's whole arc, like, he doesn't need the mask anymore.
Yeah. The mask was part of him being a fake version of somebody who's long dead.
Yep.
And his arc was realizing, you know what, I can just do this and be me. I can be my own bad guy. I don't have to copy somebody else.
Yeah, why be the next Darth Vader? Why be the first Kylo Ren?
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that whole movie is devoted to tearing down old Star Wars tropes that everyone jokes about. Big fucking super weapons, spooky, omnipotent emperor characters.
Fucking Yoda even says it. He's like, yeah, like, this is...
Yeah, the past is important, but please stop, like, living through it, and please stop relying on it. Like, and then Kylo said, like, tear the past down, kill it if you have to, but, like, stop fucking leaning on it.
Yeah.
And even, like, there's that quote, like,
and
Force has been around for, like eons.
Yeah.
The Jedi just built a religion.
And the Jedi and the Sith are relative babies in comparison to it. But, like, one more nitpick, okay? Like, you want to know why Luke Skywalker fucked off to some planet to be by himself after he failed catastrophically? Probably because the two people who trained the most did the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lost everything.
When Jedi fail, they leave. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They go into hiding because it's the only thing you can do.
It's the only thing they know how to do. It's if they fuck up, they leave. That's what and that's where the Jedi suck, and that's why Luke was like, the Jedi should go. Like,
yeah, and he was kind of right, I would say. I mean,
it is, and I said this way earlier, but it reminded me of Dark Souls because at the end of the Dark Souls story, everything has gotten so bad that one of the only choices that the few people who are alive have left is let this entire world just fucking die. Because we fucked it up so badly that our only recourse is to kickstart an apocalyptic event and then just let it all turn to dust. And we will pick up our shit and go somewhere else. Because this experiment fucking failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can levy a similar complaints at Last Jedi that I had with Infinity Wars. That once again, it overstays its welcome a little bit. It's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
long in the tooth in some areas.
That's fair.
That middle section can go. I don't know.
I'm fine with Rose and Finn doing their thing at the casino. Like it was a necessary part of what they were doing with this. Like they had to do that to show that neither side was any better than the other. Kind of what they were doing with the dark side and the light side of the Force too. Like showing that the Sith and the Jedi were not necessarily all that different. Like that was the running theme of a lot of the movie. So I understand why it was there, but I think just all around they could have shortened some things.
Yeah. They could have tightened things up a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great.
But like the pressure of internet trolls affecting the real world in ways that have actual real world consequences need to stop. And the people with money need to realize that they are the people with money, and ultimately their decision is what's final. And that these whinging assholes on the internet don't have power. They don't have real power. They have the only power they have is influencing vocal minorities. And you specifically mentioned Star Wars. These fucking troglodytes who signed that goddamn contract or vow or pledge that they're gonna remake The Last Jedi from the ground up as in the way they think it should be made. It's never gonna fucking happen. These people are out of their goddamn minds.
Yeah.
If it does,
In 2 years, no one will remember why James Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy because it doesn't matter.
Well, with the Star Wars thing you mentioned, I would love if Disney brought the full force of their legal team against these people.
They should.
Yeah.
They should. Just to fucking show, hey, listen, you can throw a bitch fit all you want. We own this shit, and we will do with it as we please. And I don't like that line of thinking a lot because that's kind of what gets us in trouble with the DC films. Is Warner Bros. Is like, well, we fucking own these things. We can do with them what we want. Right. When it comes to your own fan base, starting what could be a fanboy riot on social media, everyone needs to calm the fuck down. Yes, these properties are shared with you. They're not yours.
Yeah.
And they're not mine.
They do not belong to
collectively,
you.
We all kind of have a stake in it. So it does not end with you and your conniption, okay? It never has, and it never will.
Yeah, and I to go back to what you're saying about internet trolls whinging and all that, it's both sides, both the highly conservative and the highly liberal side.
It's the conservative, and it's the I'm outraged, you're not. You're trying to kick up a storm. That's all it is. You're not truly outraged. You're trying to get a headline. That's all it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's been exposed lately because there's someone who's there really is no story about Baby It's Cold Outside or Rudolph or Santa, should be a non-binary entity. It's these are stories kicked up to cause outrage from a very specific group of people, and it works every fucking time.
It's you, at a certain point, you have to
at some point, you have to understand that your feelings are not everyone else's feelings, and how you feel about something is not the norm.
And you can have these discussions. No, I'm not taking this away from you. You can have discussions about maybe the out of context. Maybe It's Cold Outside is kind of rapey. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to converse that, no one's stopping you. You have to have the discussion first because.
But then to sit there and route the song should be outlawed. Why? What is that song doing to you? Is that song touching you at night? There's no actual harm from this fucking song. It's not hurting anyone, and if you think it is hurting anyone, you're insane. That's what that comes down to.
Yeah.
That's Eric's worst thing of 2018. What's our list?
I feel like this one should be obvious, but it's Slender Man because fuck that movie. Fuck that movie.
Okay, before we wrap, I do want to hear everyone's especially yours, Arlen's, because I think I know what it is. I do want to hear real quick everyone's thing from maybe a year or two ago or last year they discovered that they fell in love with this year, and I'll go with mine. And it's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice because I have never played a game that has affected me mentally as this one does. because I'm playing it the way you're supposed to, which is with headphones, and it is daunting.
It's a
mentally
crazy
exhausting.
experience with
It
headphones
is
on.
really, really unsettling because Senua is so. I heard it used this recently because it's kind of true. Senua is so hilariously fucked up
Yep.
that like you're trying to experience this game through her eyes, and you're like, I can't deal like with what is going on in your head right now.
Well,
Yeah.
even the character model, like the very beginning when she's looking out at the water and you hear all the voices, like,
And they're saying the character. I don't know if she's looking at you, or if she's looking at maybe something she sees in her head.
yeah,
But at various points, she looks like she's talking to the player, and this is after one of the many voices in Senua's head says, "Why don't you come along with us? Because maybe you'll have a part to play in this."
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's fourth wall breaking to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I can't wait to experience this, but like, if it's hard to describe how it makes me feel uncomfortable, but like I'm okay with it. Because like I understand the context here. It's like this woman is very, very damaged, and you're trying to bring me into this woman who has a very damaged mind. You're trying to let me into her head, and like I didn't know it wasn't a place I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is probably the best way I can describe it. And like I'm only like an hour in, and like just the shit that this woman has to go through in the first little bit of the game is so fucking traumatizing. And the fact that at times, like the whole crux of the game is you're trying to go to Helheim to bargain with the goddess of death, Hela, to get the soul of your loved one back. And the fact that every now and then that skull on your waist will breathe,
Mm-hmm.
and she will commune with this skull is so insanely messed up. I don't really have words for it.
It's intriguingly uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know how this journey ends. I will not spoil it for the people who haven't gotten there yet. But I'm anticipating the journey a lot more than I am the ending because I want to know how we get to this point. But like
Same.
the ending is so unbelievably heartbreaking and real. This game should be celebrated far more than it is. Like it's really should be talked about a lot because I think what they're doing with the whole mental health angle is really, really ambitious and it's really impressive. And like I would really like video games to take a risk like this as far as this is concerned. And granted, they have the money and they have the ability. Hellblade was made with commercial technology with a team of 20
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. And the woman playing Senua is not an actress. She is a video editor.
Well, it was a super low budget, and
Yes.
they knew it wasn't going to sell like gangbusters or anything. But
And they sold it at
put
half
out.
the price of what a AAA game costs digitally first. And now it is a retail copy on multiple consoles with so many awards, I can't even name them all.
Well, it'll be the last PlayStation game from that company too. So
Yep. So yeah, everyone should get their hands on Hellblade and experience it. It's a game. It is. I'm not being hyperbolic. It is like nothing I've ever gotten my hands on before.
Yeah, it's not anything that if you play, it's not anything you'll ever experience.
Yeah.
But like Legion, don't try to binge it.
No.
Like,
Please, for the love of God,
take time with it.
because
I definitely.
it's from an endurance standpoint. I can't play for too long because the voices actually begin to bother me because there's so many of them going at some points, and like if that is what a schizophrenic person actually deals with, no fucking thank you.
Yes.
Strong pass.
There are times where I had to put the controller down because I was like, "This is too heavy." Like crazy.
Yeah.
Like to hear to hear 10 different voices going at once, and to hear 6 of them mocking you, and 2 of them questioning you, and 2 of them encouraging you. That is a level of noise I can't comprehend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got through 3 puzzles and I had to take a little break. So yeah.
But yeah, that's mine from last year.
Hunter.
Mine's from a couple years ago, actually. Like maybe
It just has to be yesteryear of some sort.
Yeah, like something I talked about recently. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like. So
Nice.
I generally like started binging the show recently, and like it's really funny, and like it of course it's like SNL kind of like humor, and I really like that style of kind of like fast paced humor. But there are points of this show where I'm finding I really relate to the characters in it. And I'm
Holt is probably one of my favorite characters on TV because I didn't know that actor was such a comedic force.
he is amazing in that show because
Incredible.
he plays it straight, but like the fact that he plays it so straight is the joke.
That and like his rivalry with Wunsch is
Yes.
fantastic. And, like the simple shit
Wunsch.
he says, like he's like, "Oh, Wunsch, you're here, but if you're here, who's guarding Hades?" Or like they like meet her in some fucking building. He's like, "Oh, Wunsch, I didn't think you'd get this high without your broom."
Like that show, like I think it's really funny, but also I find myself kind of relating to some of the characters, like things that happen in the show. I'm like, oh, this is like really kind of almost touching, almost kind of like
It's also like a group of comedians who I feel very happy for that they're all just getting consistent work.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember her name, but the very wide-eyed wacky one.
Oh, Chelsea Peretti?
Yes,
yes,
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay.
she is fantastic, and I saw
Also-
her in a comedy special once, and I was like, she's hilarious. And then I saw she was getting work on that, and I was like, fucking good for her.
This,
Yeah.
this show has the best Adam Sandler cameo I've ever seen in anything.
I didn't
Oh,
even
shit.
know I had an Adam Sandler cameo.
Oh god, you like if you've not seen it, look it up because it's so funny.
I don't watch it consistently enough anymore. I've seen it very scattershot. Like I've never sat there and watched through a season. I always catch it on TV or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely I'm really enjoying this show, and like it's definitely one of my favorites.
I'll have to give it a try
Eric.
at some point. Mine is super pedestrian and boring because I couldn't think of anything, but actually Shape of Water. Just I only saw it this year, even though it's
I
how
love
old at
Shape
this
of Water.
point? It's a
Like,
year
It's
old.
a year old, yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, it's nothing too amazing other
Those
than
feelings.
you get to see a deaf girl fuck a fish. So, no,
I'm glad
it's
I'm
Oh,
glad
go
you
ahead.
didn't mince any of those words.
I really love how this is so on brand for Eric.
It really is, but it's the least bad thing he's ever said. So,
No, it's Guillermo del Toro proving like, hey, you know, the Universal monsters could be really cool if you
Yeah.
get the right people to do
Yeah.
it.
Almost,
Yeah,
almost
You
like
could-
fucking
I think he-
completely.
what the thing is, he proved that you can take these kind of semi cheesy movie characters and do something really off the fucking wall with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is kind of the resounding statement I got from that film.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a million other things I could have picked, but that was the first thing that came to
No,
mind.
that's a good pick.
No, it's not. Stop coddling me.
No, I kind of agree because I didn't see it until like months after its release, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I really slept on this really hard.
Yeah, I didn't see it till it was on HBO this year. So,
Yeah, exactly. So, Arlen.
Arlen.
I love how he had this queued up.
Beautiful.
Twin Peaks. It's fucking great. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic.
I am
You have
glad.
to get through the first 3 episodes, though. That's the
Yeah, I am glad that the fact that Alan started this show is just puzzling to me. Because I don't think for a second that he'll ever finish that show.
No, he will not.
It's like if he gets through seasons 1 and 2, as soon as season 3 starts, he would go, okay, no, and just like
What's going to happen is he's going to get through all 3 seasons, and next time he's on a show with us, it's just going to be like, "Oh, hey guys, what's up, Alan? Yeah, what's going on? What? What? I'm fine now, guys. Hey, everything's good. Let's all talk." It's going to cure him of his problems.
I'm so glad that like just through I discovered it through years and years and years of saying I'll watch Twin Peaks, and then like I started it, and then they were like Twin Peaks is coming back. I was like, shut the whole fuck up. No, it isn't. And then like as season 3 got closer and closer to release, like for some reason I was so hyped for a show to return that I never even finished. Okay, like so as it was coming out, I blitzkrieged through season 1 and 2. To the point where I might have even skipped episodes. And then, like,
Yeah.
season 2 started, and I was like, this is, like, one of the most intense and brilliant things I've ever seen done in a television format. Because, like, to call season 3 a season of TV is very strange to me because
Yeah.
it's called parts 1 through 18, and it's basically like an 18-hour film.
Yeah.
Because it
is.
does not function like a TV show at all. It's barely episodic.
Yeah. Like, it feels different, but it feels part of the whole at the same time.
Yes.
And it's gorgeous. And it's a very affecting show.
I
at
don't think I've ever seen something that was as horrific And as laugh out loud funny as Twin Peaks season 3 was, because like I could not contain myself during the Mr. Jackpots episode.
Yeah.
Not for a moment.
Hello.
That episode is so fucking funny. But then like the next episode is like fucking you meet Janet, like, and then like she eats, or like the episode before is like she eats somebody's fucking face, or like later on in the show, Derek Mears gets his entire head collapsed by somebody, or someone's getting their brains blown out under a pillow, or something. Like the show has incredible moments of graphic violence, but then like call for help happens.
Yeah.
Or the fucking, or those, or
Dougie.
Everything about Dougie. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And
This
like, here's
is
the thing.
water.
Here's the
This
thing.
is the
The
water.
longer Dougie went, the angrier I got, because I was like, give me Agent Cooper back. But then, like, when I finally got Cooper back, I was like, holy shit, I get it. Like, the Dougie character exists. They got a Dougie. They imply there's still a Dougie. Because the ending is very open ended. But like, the Dougie character existed essentially to give this weird little family that David Lynch plucked out of his own universe to like through serendipity and the weird supernatural powers that are affiliated with Agent Cooper, is to like bless his family with like ridiculous wealth and like just good luck and all this nice shit to this weird woman and her strange son. Like, and I was like, that is so fucking sweet and so strange, and the whole thing is so fucking surreal. And then like there's just weird shit like Laura Dern showing up and fucking
a walking brain with a nervous system.
And like Matthew Lillard's there for a couple minutes. And
hell yeah.
And like all these strange cameos. Monica Bellucci, not Monica, French woman. God damn it.
I know.
I had another Monica dream. And David Lynch being David Lynch, and David Duchovny showing back up in drag. Like, everything about that show was fucking wonderful, and I'm like, more people need to watch it. And because of how David Lynch worked with Showtime, we probably won't get a Twin Peaks season 4. So
probably not. So watch it and appreciate it, because it's so good.
Didn't Nine Inch Nails like appear as a cameo?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, singing a super strange song.
That's not that surprising.
That is also where I discovered this weird electronic band whose name is escaping me right now. But they sang a song in like the 3rd episode, and it was like I rarely hear songs that make me go, oh, this is specifically tailor made for this kind of show, and it's beautiful, and I love everything about it. But I'm just totally blanking on like the band and the song right now. I can't remember. It's weird, which is a weird thing to say because I love that song, but I'm having a complete brain fart right now.
Yeah. It's just it's fantastic. David Lynch's use of music, and like there are 3 seasons, and each season feels different. Each season feels unique from the last one. And it's worth a watch if any of you haven't ever tried it out. So yeah, I think.
And Kyle MacLachlan is like way more capable than most of you probably think he is.
Yeah, I have a different respect for Kyle MacLachlan.
Okay. It was the Chromatics. That was the band.
Oh, yeah.
Chromatics it's this very kind of soft, ethereal, dreamy electronic rock music, and it's very, very, very good. The song is called Shadow. That's what it is. The music video is mesmerizing, and its use in the show is actually a point where 2 characters who have been separated for a long time, because the main cast gets separated a bit and they get used sparingly, like the returning characters. But like, it's a moment where you get some closure regarding like some very classic Twin Peaks characters, and it's very beautiful the way it's done. It was always Twin Peaks season.
Characters are in places that you wouldn't expect them to be, and
before we close, like there was a nice sense of like, you see all these people coming back together, and it was like seeing people you hadn't seen in a long time. Like, it's like, wow, look, like you go back home is what it is, and you're like, look, all the fucking people I knew, and look where they are. This is all nice to see. Like, they're all doing well, it seems.
Yeah,
for the most part, and like people who sucked in like Twin Peaks season 1 and 2, like they redeemed themselves and became like very strong characters, like Bobby. Bobby becomes one of the strongest characters in season 3. It's so wonderful.
He's so good.
And then Shelley goes from being really likable to just like a piece of shit. Shelley.
She does.
Yeah, but it's full of cameos and good shit. Michael Cera shows up. at some point. as two wonderfully weird characters, Kid, and it fits so well. But yeah, I think we should wrap now at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good
Well,
place.
longest episode ever, but it's top 5, so whatever.
Yeah. Clocking in at nearly 3 hours, so
Wow.
let's get out of here.
I don't do this too often. But anyway, I've been Connor McGraw. So Movie Dumpster Season 1 is done. That's it. We're waiting until next year to start Season 2. Home Alone 4 is out. What a fucking turd that movie is. My God. It was like gazing into the abyss. And it's
Frank Stewart is staring back.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like it's and I said it during the Movie Dumpster episode, but like if you truly think that the landscape of modern cinema is nothing but hollow cash grabs, remakes, and sequels, then I got news for you. And I'm moving my pop filter. You haven't gazed into the abyss long enough, okay? Or you blinked. Home Alone 4. Home Alone 4 is where movies go to die, okay? Home Alone 4 is probably one of the worst movies I have ever sat through in the 32 years I have been alive, and I think the people who made it should be shot out of a cannon.
And guess what? Guess what, guys? There's a Home Alone 5.
There's a Home Alone 5, and it's got Malcolm McDowell.
After this.
Of course it does.
Yeah. So there you go. But like I said, next year we're going to update the website. We're going to get a whole new plan for what movie we're going to watch. We're going to try to expand our palette a little bit. We do have some interesting picks. I know for a fact we're doing Lawnmower Man. I know for a fact we're doing Street Fighter. I'm just not sure which one because I think I want to do Chun-Li over the first one.
No, you need to do Chun-Li over the first one. I'm telling you right.
You do Chun-Li over the first one because, like, how do you turn down Neil McDonough as Scottish M. Bison, whose plan involves real estate?
Yeah. Also, it's got the fucking black guy.
It's also got Cicada from Flash in like the worst acting gig I've ever seen anyone ever get. We're probably gonna include some more horror films. I've been perusing Shudder and some of the free movie platforms like Crackle, and Tubi TV to like find some real fucking stinkers. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. So there should be some good changes in the meantime. And then during this holiday break and during the Movie Dumpster break, we are going to find time to do a proper Shadow Zone episode 1. I swear to God. Okay, so that'll happen.
If it doesn't, I will fly to Las Vegas.
Yeah, like this is what Arlen talked about a few months ago. Like this is the window we have, and we're going to take it. So look forward to that. And that's all I've got to plug for now.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm going to miss driving to work early in the morning, listening to the Movie Dumpster.
There's 37 episodes available right now.
That's true. I can just go back and re-listen to them. I honestly might. I might just re-listen to them all. Monster Mash podcast. It's coming out soon. I didn't completely forget my duties and not release it yet.
We did recently record an episode, another one.
Yeah.
But you will see more.
That's gonna happen.
I was just on an episode we recorded where we talked about one of it's my favorite monster movie of all time, but I won't say what it is.
Yeah,
well, it's a great film.
Yeah, I need to listen to some more episodes because I need to hear how Hellboy gets defeated.
Of course you do. But yeah, that and Lost Horror podcast. We are back for season 2 every single week except for this month because holidays and stuff.
Sucks.
Yeah. So yeah, go listen to that.
I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
If you follow me on any social media, I will find you and break your legs.
There we go.
Check out. I got this thing going on. Maybe you heard of it. It's called Lost Hero Games. Go check out the podcast. Me, Emmett, and Al sit down. We talk about video games. We had a very good episode. The last episode was like, I think it's my favorite one we've ever done. Where like everything kind of flowed kind of nice and felt nice to do. Check out the website Lost Hero for all our Lost Hero game articles. I just made a really kind of interesting Earthbound article. I think it's interesting. If you think it's interesting, you could take your opinion and stick up your ass. Anyways, That's all I got, really. Monster Mash, go check that out.
Yep.
All right, I'm Eric Fedorchak. You can find me at Eric_Fedor on Instagram. There's pictures of cats and food and comics and things along those lines. Also pictures of dogs. And I will add to what I meant to add the last time I was on, which is the name of our new puppy, who's now going to be 3 months old tomorrow, is Ripley, named after Ellen Ripley from the films. So I got to name my one dog RoboCop. Well, not RoboCop. I got to name her Murphy, but that was because Alex P. Murphy was the cop's name before he became RoboCop. So my wife wanted to name an animal after a movie character. Outside of that, I don't have anything horrific to add because I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
I know you're tired, Eric, but there's something I want to say before we go. If you're listening to this right now, if you could give us a rating on iTunes, that'd be super cool.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
Give us a thoughts on the show.
we've expanded to the point where we're creating a lot of content, but it's not going to matter it's not going to matter if how you boost podcasts isn't happening. Which sadly, if you're on iTunes, it's 5-star reviews.
Yes.
That's how we get more eyeballs on us. So if you care about the show, you support the show. I don't care if you leave a review for brownies, leave a recipe for brownies in the review box. Just give us 5 stars.
I don't care if you call me names. Just do it in a way that I won't know.
Yeah. If you leave erotica, Eric's the only one that's going to read those.
I will.
But
I will
but
gleefully.
You might read it on the podcast too.
And the thing is, we know you motherfuckers listen too. So please review.
At least a handful of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, there's a thing we've had since the beginning of the show, which is an email specifically for questions, and it's called the zonersgroup@gmail.com. So send things to that email.
And
questions, suggestions,
maybe
penis enlargement pills,
requests to be on the show. If you're like, I'm scared to ask if we can be on, there's an email specifically for that.
Honestly, if you're scared, just ask me, because I okay guests left and right. John Scott, looking at you.
If you're a pretty girl and you want to get a hold of me, check out the email. I guess I don't know.
Don't do that. Actually, don't use the business.
Don't do that.
Our podcast is not your dating network. Okay.
No, it's not. Sorry. All right.
I think we can go on that one.
Yeah, Eric's gonna die if we don't end now, so let's go.
No, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Fuck Vince McMahon and his stupid old eyeballs.
I wonder, does Pennywise penis have teeth?
God fucking.